I'm Natalie Tso, and I'm here with Andrew Ryan, my co-host of Taiwan Insider, who's also a multiple Golden Bell Award winner for TV and radio, and also Ellen Chu, who is a very famous TV show host here in Taiwan. She's hosted many of Taiwan's most famous programs, and they are here, Andrew and Ellen, to celebrate the 10th anniversary of their program at RTI, Feast Meets West, which covers the food scene in Taiwan. It's great to have you guys on the show.
Hey, Natalie.
Hey, Natalie. Oh, can we eat now?
Yeah, let's eat. This is ice cream, so we need to eat this quickly. But
yes.
Tell us about this, Andrew. I know this is part of your show. You like to make food.
Yes, so Feast Meets West, of course, we've been doing this for now 10 years.
10 years
I've
already,
been
right?
feeding
Amazing.
Ellen Chu for 10 years.
Exactly. You know, the most amazing thing recording this show is that I push him in the kitchen and I am the person who tastes every food, you know, and I
Sounds
give
like
him
a dream
the
job.
thumbs up or the thumbs down, okay?
It's a very forward-thinking program. It's not the woman in the kitchen, it's the man in the kitchen. Yes, where he belongs.
So
Today?
tell us what we're eating today.
So this is a pomelo sorbet, and of course I use
Wow.
pomelo because
Right.
that's the mid-autumn festival fruit that everybody enjoys eating.
Right
So go
here.
ahead and dig in before it melts.
Right. It's really refreshing, you
It
know.
is so refreshing. It kind of tastes like grapefruit almost.
It does have a little
You
grapefruit
got
in
a
it.
key
It has
from
grapefruit
this,
in there?
yeah. Right.
So I have pomelos in here, and then for a little bit of color and a little bit
Right.
of tang, I put some grapefruit because they're good friends. Also a little bit of Campari and a little bit of vermouth and some
Wait.
sugar.
You're so professional.
So do you know which ingredient is the one that make the sorbet have the texture of a sorbet and not an ice block?
No, I don't.
Tick tock, tick
How does it
tock.
work?
Okay. Actually, I found the answer today. You know, it's like Andrew told me it is the corn syrup, right?
That is
or
correct.
the sugar syrup.
Oh, and
Yes.
how is this made?
So basically you mix all the ingredients together and you need either a sugar syrup or corn syrup, as Ellen said, to give it the texture. And then once you've mixed everything together, you put it in an ice cream maker, and basically it freezes it and whips it at the same time to give it the consistency.
Sounds so
You
good.
see why I push him into the kitchen? Because he's such
I
an
see
amazing,
him working
you know,
so hard on
chef.
this show all the time.
Right.
And well, tell us about some of your most successful adventures in the kitchen.
What are the successful?
This is one.
Oh, thank you. So this is okay.
This is good.
Yes.
They're still alive.
Well, I think, you know, one of the most successful one, I think it's dumplings, remember?
tangyuan.
The tangyuan, right.
The glutinous
And
rice balls, yeah.
we had a, national chef, right? He is the
Wow.
chef who serves the national banquet.
Like the state dinners.
The state
yeah.
dinners. And he was sitting in our studio and we were interviewing him.
Well, I have to say, Ellen didn't tell me that he was coming. She simply said, you know, it's the Lantern Festival. You need to make these
Right.
traditional glutinous rice balls, and we'll see how good they are.
I challenged him. I
And
said,
then
you
she
know,
brought this famous chef in to taste your balls.
Yeah,
to taste your balls, right?
that's right. And he said they were okay, right?
Right, and then you put a special ingredients in there because, you know, usually we make traditional food with a little twist to it. So that day with the tangyuan, it wasn't the sesame filling. It was actually coffee.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because Ellen
I
Chu
would
said
like to try
me,
that.
she said if you do a good job, then she will treat me to coffee. If I do a
Right.
bad job, then I have to treat her to coffee.
So it was a challenge. We do this all the time, like just randomly. I would say, okay, would you do this? And
Yes.
like he would challenge me to buy a pink piece of furniture in my house before October.
That's nothing related to food, though.
Well, it's for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Ah.
And actually every October we do a pink show, so we have a pink food.
Exactly.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
So you guys have been working together for 18 years.
18
I mean,
years.
10 years
Yes.
on this show and 8 years on Groove
Groove
Zone,
Zone,
right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about a little bit about your own working relationship. What was your first impression of each other?
Okay, let me say it first, okay?
I know you guys get along great.
I'm really
I can
afraid
tell.
what
You,
gonna
you
say.
want me to be honest and blunt?
Of course, why
You
not?
wouldn't be angry at me,
No,
okay?
never.
You wouldn't say, Ellen, you're off
Never.
my friend list, okay? Okay, the first day I worked with him, you know, he was all prepared because he was producing and also he was doing all the information and also writing out the script. So, you know, when I read it, I'm just like, you know, I don't really want to follow the script word by word. And then he was like, oh, Ellen, you know,
insulted?
you have to really, really read this, okay? You have to say, you know, with an expression on the next line. I'm just like, can
I
I just
wasn't that
toss
bad.
it? Can I just toss it? So, my first impression of working with him on day one was he's a little bit anal. He is too stiff, okay? And he plays by the rule too much.
And the reason why she's laughing is because she thinks exactly the same thing.
Oh, give me a high five right there. So you two, right, Natalie?
Yeah, we
And,
he's
he's also like, what is that? What is that sound in my headset right now? I'm like, nothing. Just let it go, okay?
It's called perfectionism. I have to make sure everything is perfect.
Perfectionism and anal is just a line.
One line. Well, I have to say, if I can talk about you, my first impression of you.
Go ahead.
All over the place. I mean, it's like the total polar opposite. It's like the Odd Couple.
Yes.
I'm like the very fastidious one, and she's like, I see your script, and I'm going to toss it.
Or I just say, I didn't receive the email.
She's like, you sent me the rundowns, but I didn't get them. What
Yeah,
happened
we
to
don't
them?
need it, okay?
Yeah.
And then he has been trained to work without a script. See? Aren't you more happier? Say it. Tell everyone you're happier.
I'm much happier.
And after you're trained with the spontaneous and let go with the script, you won the golden bell, right?
And after I gave her a little bit of structure, then she won the golden bell.
What structure?
So that was a very exciting moment, right? You two won
Yes.
the Best Variety Show Host a few years ago, and you were presenting that award.
Yes.
I mean, tell me how you felt when you didn't even know, obviously, if you're going to win or not. And
Yeah.
they made you present the two awards that you were nominated for,
The
the
thing
show
was-
host and the show.
Andrew here, as anal as he is always, he was so nervous. I told him it
Really?
doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Hold
You
on a
weren't
second.
nervous?
We are nominated already. So, this is good already. If we win, hey, we win. If we don't, we did the best we did.
I was happy to just be nominated. The reason why I was nervous is because we got sponsored to wear these very expensive watches on our wrists.
Is that the only reason?
Yes, and do you know how much that watch cost? It cost $1 million.
Wow.
I was afraid someone was going to take like a watermelon knife and just like slice off my arm. Steal it.
So you were nervous because of the watch?
Well, okay, and the other thing.
Right. And then, he afterwards he told me because the first award was given to the best show, right?
For best show, because we were nominated for both.
Right.
Right. And then, it
You
wasn't
didn't get
us.
the award, right.
So he was kind of like, okay, it's not us. So maybe we're not going to win at all.
Yes.
And then, you see his face.
How about
like
you,
going,
though? You were giving it to someone
on
else.
stage, right? I was on stage. I'm like, fine. I'm so happy.
She's
but, you know,
she was ready to give the smile regardless.
right, but I was
Professional.
So
looking at
professional.
Andrew, that he was kind of like going down. It's like, oh, someone else.
Because he wasn't on stage.
Right, but I saw him. I was like totally like watching you. And then the moment that they announced that, the winner was us, the best host.
Right.
He was like, what?
What?
What? to me? Yeah, and then he started crying and
did not
bawling
start crying.
and all nervous. Yeah, but he had his lines already.
Of course.
I remember you gave him a big hug. It was
Right,
so
I
cute,
did.
so sweet.
It's like we were in this together, and whether we win or not, we had a lot of fun and great moments together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell me about your favorite moment the past 10 years.
Every moment, I think.
Every moment.
It's
That's so
fun.
romantic. No.
Yeah, my kids actually, sometimes sit in the radio station, watch us record. And,
Really?
And,
That's
my
so-
kids ask us,
so
what
well-behaved.
kind of relationship do you have with Uncle Andrew?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's just like family.
Yeah.
He's like family.
They're like, why do you buy him coffee every week?
Exactly. Well, I don't think we give people the impression that it's romantic, but
No.
it's kind of like family.
Definitely.
And, we could say something, but totally in a different angle and view. Like we're totally different polar, okay?
Yeah,
I
polar
am,
opposites.
I am north, he is south, okay? So it's that
She's
difference.
a feast, I'm a west.
Right. It's that difference that creates a chemistry in the show.
And I think the other thing is too is we've seen each other kind of grow up through this show and through both of our shows together because we've known each other for 20 years, right?
Do you have to mention
Ever
that?
since you're 2 years old, right?
Yes, 2 years old, exactly.
Actually, I have to make a correction. It's in the nursery,
yes,
the baby
nursery.
room, when we met.
Absolutely.
So we're just basically 20.
Yeah. Except that she's got kids that are like 10. So.
Yeah.
But they've grown up with the show as well.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I think both your son and daughter were born
Yes.
when the show started?
I think
Not the same
way
time.
after.
Way after.
Right.
Okay.
So, it's fun. It's like, the listeners follow through, the time with us, starting from my marriage all the way to my kids coming out and then my kids going to first grade. They follow us in different stages of life. And the thing is, like, every time I sit here, recording with him, it's not like, thinking about the topic. We come out with, really what we're thinking at the moment. Right.
So how would you guys describe your chemistry then? It seems very spontaneous. Has it always
like
been
a
there?
Tequila bomb. Tequila bomb.
I mean, you've got the sour, you got the sweet, you got the spicy. I think it's just like both of us will bring our full selves to the program. So there's vulnerability, there's authenticity. We experience the food of Taiwan in a variety of different ways.
That's great.
Right.
And I think food is so integral to everybody's lives that it just comes naturally. I mean, it's like we're sitting down for a 3-course meal together every week.
And the thing is that both of us like to eat. So,
that helps.
Yes.
Sharing culture through eating and sharing emotions and feeling through eating comes so natural, right?
Absolutely.
And he is like the best chef I know.
Nonsense.
So you're so lucky.
I know.
So both of you are award-winning hosts. How would you, what do you think it takes to be a good host on TV and on radio?
Well, I think a lot of people, like when they come to a hosting scenario, they're very practiced. Like they want to look good and sound good. Of course, those are important things, but I think it's more important to be genuine. So if she doesn't like the food, like for example, we've had a couple fails.
Right.
She'll say,
No, definitely no. I
she's
said
not
never
gonna
bring that here again in my lifetime.
like which ones? Can you think of some that?
It was one of the ice cream. Remember, 柿子.
Oh, she doesn't like persimmons.
Persimmon,
either.
and he made it into an ice cream. Oh, horrible. Horrible.
That does not sound good to me either.
Yes. First thing is that I don't like persimmon. So he's like, okay. So, we're like parents with kids. If you don't like vegetable, then I transform the vegetable into something maybe that you'll like.
I made persimmon bread for you too, but that was better, right?
It was better than persimmon ice cream, okay?
Did you ever make her eat something she didn't want to eat?
Oh, of course.
All the time?
all the
What?
innards that
Right,
we've
the
had in
innards.
the show.
Yeah.
Also, we did a Taipei strange food competition where we had stinky tofu, which she hates.
Right.
We had the zuxiegao, the
The
pork
strange
blood.
thing is, I am pretty much like the West in the show, and he is the East. He eats everything, okay? And he is very local. He knows more of the culture than I do. And I am like the foreigner, like I can't take stinky tofu. I can't stand like innards or night market food. Some of the night market food, I am just not that brave to, challenge myself.
And I think that's important because a lot of food shows, like the host will be like, everything is delicious, right?
Right.
But not everybody likes every kind of food.
Exactly.
But there's always something interesting or something good about a food that you can talk about or explain or like share with the audience.
Right.
There's always a story.
And especially with radio, people can't see. So, a lot of things we have to use our words, voice, and
Sounds.
voice expressions and sounds to make it visualize. So people from abroad, outside of Taiwan, where they never saw a pomelo or never see a persimmon, they have to be able to visualize through, our voice.
And actually, if you can give me that pomelo.
It's really heavy.
It is heavy. But like in the show, because you can't see it, we would like, you can hear the sound of it. And that's how you buy a pomelo. You can hear it and feel the weight of it. And
How do you
just
know
be
so
very
much about
descriptive.
food, Andrew?
I love to eat. Well, I
Yes.
mean, my mom's also an excellent cook, so she's got the curiosity
yes.
about food.
And we had several recipes from Andrew's mom. And she
Oh,
would,
great.
do it overseas, on telephone. That was wonderful.
Sometimes I'll call her if I don't know what I'm doing, and she'll give me some tips over the phone, and
Right.
I'll bring it onto the show, and I'll explain
Yeah.
to her, oh yeah, my mom said you have to do this, or you have to do that, or don't do this, be
Right.
careful about this. Yeah.
How fun. Well, how would you guys describe Taiwan's food scene? I mean, I know people and media around the world rave about it all the time. What about you guys? Because you've been covering it for 10 years. That means 500 different shows about food.
I think that, Taiwan has a variety of different types of influences. You've got Japanese influence, you've got Western influence. Of course, you have foods from all over China. Like when the nationalists came to Taiwan in the late 1940s, they
Right.
brought food from every province in China. So in Taipei City alone, you have many, many different options. But I think, when you taste the food, of course, people love the food. But I think it's even more important to know how the food became the way it is, to tell the stories. Like in our show, if we explained, oh, you should go to this restaurant and try this food, well, a lot of our listeners can't go to that restaurant.
Right.
So for us, and what's really exciting is that there are so many stories about foods.
That's exciting.
Exactly. I think, that's amazing. Like Tainan, they have the 棺材板, which is like the bread.
Coffin bread.
Coffin
bread.
Yeah.
But it's just like the bowl, and the soup
bowl,
in
right?
a bowl,
Bread
in a
bowl.
bread bowl. Like in San Francisco, you would have soup in a bread bowl, like clam chowder. But basically, it's just the filling inside is more localized.
And it looks like a coffin.
Right.
Yes.
So it's more interesting that way, right?
Right,
Yes.
right.
So there's so many twists on food. It's so great that you guys are doing this show. And congratulations on 10 years of
I
a very
know.
successul program and winning awards, which I believe you continue to do.
Oh,
And
thank you,
I hope
Natalie.
so.
Yeah.
Continue to-
Before I lose all my teeth, then we have to switch to something else.
And watch
Maybe,
Ellen's children grow up, right, in the
Yes.
process?
maybe we'll have a drink show.
Ooh, yes.
With different kind of drinks,
Yes.
so we
That
don't need
sounds
to
good.
bite.
You can gum the food, right?
We could still be drinking and introducing and talking.
Pureed foods.
Why are you laughing at? Okay, the people, the co-workers here, we're saying something very genuine and serious. So be prepared. We're gonna have a drink show. Okay, we're gonna go from soft solid first.
We'll go on to sorbets every week and then go on to
Sorbet,
drinks, right?
pudding, custards, and things, and then into all liquid. Okay,
Ease our way right into
All right,
retirement.
sounds
exactly.
good. 20 more years, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
So I've been speaking with Andrew Ryan and Ellen Chu. They're both award-winning hosts of Feast Meets West on Radio Taiwan International. Do check out their show. It's an awesome show, as you can tell. They're wonderful hosts, and thank you for joining me today. I'm Natalie Tso.